Lambert of American Top Team and now AEW, All Elite Wrestling. So thank you, Dan. And what has it been like so far with AEW?
Oh, I'm having the time of my life. I get to show up in front of a bunch of people, talk a bunch of shit about people and things I don't really like anyway. What could be better than that?
You're living the dream. How did you get involved with AEW?
I met Tony Khan a couple of years ago. He was down in Miami meeting with Jorge Masvidal, talking about doing some business together. And George's manager mentioned, man, you guys ought to meet Dan. And Tony had seen some of the stuff we did on Impact. He was like, man, why don't you see if you can get him over here? So we met, just became friends. I mean, he loves football and he loves wrestling. So those are two of my favorite things. So we hit it off, became friends, and I started going to some shows. And when they came down to Miami, we started talking. He was like, hey, why don't we do something here? And I said, okay, let's give it a shot. Kind of went from there.
How do you like being the heel?
They say characters are more effective when they show some of your true feelings and you project what's really inside. So I guess I'm kind of a jerk on the inside because I'm just saying what comes to my mind and what I really think anyway. And if people don't like it and boo it and they hate me as much as I hate them, I guess it's a win-win.
You've been in Impact Wrestling and Major League Wrestling, MLW. How has that helped, if it has, for what you're doing in AEW?
Oh, I think it was some good practice. I'd never really, unless you count 40 years of sitting in front of your bathroom mirror, talking shit and cutting promos, unless you count that as real practice, it was good to get in front of people and try to do some of the things you need to do to get your points across. But I don't know. I just kind of get out there and say what's on my mind and go with the flow, and it seems to be working pretty good so far, so knock on wood.
American Top Team ATT with Men of the Year, Ethan Paige, Scorpio Sky versus the Inner Circle. Dan Lambert, 2-0, ATT Men of the Year versus Inner Circle so far. What's the secret there?
Well, the secret is we're better than they are. What did you expect? Seriously, are you that much of a mark where you thought they had a chance in this?
I should never second guess anything or anyone associated with Mr. Dan Lambert. I think that's the message.
Well, if you're going to second guess American Top Team, come to the PFL next Wednesday on October 27th and watch us win 5 championships and $5 million checks, and that'll learn you.
Well, that is so great. And you mentioned PFL, Professional Fighters League MMA. They have the big event coming up October 27th, Wednesday, at Hard Rock Live at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino right here in South Florida. Dan, what is it like with your fighters at your gym, ATT? Great fighters, great trainers, great facility. What is it like, you mentioned about PFL, of having so many fighters from ATT make it to the championship round, each going for $1 million in the title?
Man, I guess it's a combination of good luck and good preparation. And, coaches are doing a good job. Fighters are getting ready. And, we were fortunate enough to get some people into the tournaments. They've only got 6 divisions in there, so there's $6 million fights, and we happen to have 5 people in the finals, which is a really good thing. Hell, we got 2 people fighting each other in the preliminaries in a non-title fight. So it's going to be a really, really busy night for us. They've all got tough opponents, so, we're hoping for the best. That's life-changing money for these guys.
Where will you be on Wednesday, October 27th? I'm sure you're probably going to be at PFL MMA. I know AEW Dynamite on TNT is also on Wednesday nights. But are you going to be at the PFL MMA, the championships that night?
We got 5 championship fights, 5 fights for world titles and $1 million. You couldn't keep me out of there with 1,000 wild horses coming my way.
And one of those fighters is in the main event, Miss Kayla Harrison, Olympic judo gold medalist, record setter. She's a PFL MMA champion already, going for her 2nd title. What can you first say about Kayla as a fighter?
I could say if you ever call her an Olympic gold medalist without saying 2-time in front of it, she'll probably slap the shit out of you. But as a fighter, she's amazing. I mean, she's a beast physically. She's a beast mentally. She's a beast when it comes to training and putting in the work and listening to her coaches. She's a force, and she's only been doing this for a few short years, and she's still getting better every day. I mean, you take the Kayla that won the tournament last year, and if you put her in a fight right now against the Kayla that's getting ready to go into the finals this year, that last year Kayla would absolutely get destroyed. She's that much better. The learning curve is still going high, and she's going to be a force for a while.
Speaking of her being a force, she was also part of the ATT contingent at one of the AEW shows. What was it like having Kayla there, part of the group?
Yeah, for someone who was pretty much anti-pro wrestling when it started, it took her a total of about 4 seconds after walking out there to start flexing her muscles and kissing her biceps and telling fans to go jump in the ocean, and she had a blast. So she had a lot of fun, and actually there were a lot of people talking about her afterwards, saying, man, this girl's got a future in wrestling if she ever decides to go that way. But I think she's got a lot of things she wants to achieve in MMA first.
Well, another fighter, Junior Dos Santos, right here in Miami, AEW, made his debut, his pro wrestling debut. What did you think about Junior and now his newfound passion and his love for pro wrestling?
Man, I think he took to it like a fish to water. I mean, he was out there in a main event on national television live against some of the biggest names in the business, and I think he did more than hold his own. I thought he did great. He was very well received, and I think he's got a future in that business if that's what he's looking to do, and he's looking to do some boxing, maybe get back and do some MMA and do some professional wrestling, but he said he's having the time of his life doing it.
When it comes to someone like that, Junior Dos Santos, and even some of the others, Paige VanZant was there, Austin Vanderford was there, also Jorge Masvidal was in the corner as well. Just to see all of them, and they all just have a good presence, a good pro wrestling presence. Who do you see from the MMA group, especially from AT&T, that could go on and do very well in professional wrestling? You've been around it a long time.
Well, I think JDS is already doing pretty well in wrestling, so I'm going to leave him out because I think he's already proven himself in there, and I think you're going to see more of him in there. But, I mean, of those names you just mentioned, I mean, Paige VanZant gets a ridiculous reaction. She just has a lot of charisma. A lot of people like her, a lot of people hate her, and a lot of people like to hate her. So I think she could do big things if she decided to go that route. You know, Masvidal, he's got so much presence. He can do just about anything he ever wants, whether it's promote fights, go in and fight, do professional wrestling. I mean, I could see that guy doing just about anything he wanted to do. And Kayla, like I said, she's kind of a monster and a beast at just about everything she does. You know, she's the best female judoka or best judoka of all time coming out of the United States. She's undefeated in MMA, getting ready to win her second PFL championship, knock on wood. And I think she could have a future in wrestling too. But like I said before, I think she's got a lot of things she wants to do in the world of MMA first.
And that PFL MMA championship is next. Her going for her second PFL MMA championship is next on the agenda. What are your thoughts too, Dan, of, geez, we had the August PFL semifinals right here in South Florida, and now we're having the championships here in South Florida. And just what are your thoughts of bringing PFL down here to South Florida?
Man, it's just a stroke of good luck for us. I mean, our coaches, our fighters, they get to stay local. They get to have their friends and families all go see the fights. It's a really cool venue, the Hard Rock Live, and the way that they have it set up, especially with their smart cage and whatever that Titantron is that they've got over it. It's a really cool setup. It's great to have it local. They get to train local right up until the fight, not have to travel far to go into a bubble like they did in some earlier rounds. It's a great thing for us, and you know, knock on wood, we got 5 people going in there fighting for $1 million, and we're hoping to come out with 5 millionaires.
And also, Dan, what do you think of this format? It's a really cool format with the regular season and the playoffs. Something a little different, something unique.
I love the old school tournaments. I love it. It can get you so invested in fights and in fighters that you otherwise would not get invested in. I mean, you're watching people progress through the tournament, and sometimes the best fighter gets through to the end just by being the best fighter, and sometimes there's some strokes of luck or some craziness that have to come into play between injuries or certain decisions going a certain way, or matchups just happen to go a certain way. You happen to fight someone who's the number 2 seed and you're the number 1 seed going into the tournament in the earlier rounds, or at least the second best fighter, and you just never know what's going to happen in a tournament, and you get so invested in the fighters and in each weight division. I'm pumped. I mean, the heavyweight fight. We don't have a fighter, and I can't wait for the fight. I've been watching both those guys all season long, and I can't wait to see how that one goes. So I'm a big fan of tournaments, and it's in a certain way, it's a winner take all every season in every weight class, and I think it's really cool.
And also, Dan, how have the fighters taken to that? It seems like it keeps growing, and the interest from the fighters keeps growing with this format and them enjoying it.
They love it, and this will be the third championship season that PFL has done. And luckily for us, we've had several champions each year, and we got 100 pro fighters at our gym fighting in every company and every major promotion across the world, and they're all taking notice of these people going to PFL and making money and being successful, and they got a lot of eyes on that. A lot of people are like, man, that's something I'd be interested in. First thing JDS said to me when he became a free agent was, hey, man, you think I can get into that PFL? I mean, that's $1 million.
And another one that is in the finals, Antonio Carlos Jr. What a competitor, what a fighter, what a good representation for MMA and also for American Top Team. Dan, what can you say about Antonio Carlos Jr.?
I think he's one of those guys that's really benefiting now from moving up a weight class. He'd always fought it at 185 after turning pro. He originally did, and he won the Brazilian Tough Series that the UFC does, but he did it at heavyweight because that was the only weight class they were offering at the time for the TV show. He went down to 185 right after that, and it's a lot of weight cut for him, and I don't think he realized how much it was taking out of him, because once he came to the PFL and went up to the 205 class, he has just exploded with energy, and he's a big, strong guy to begin with, so he's not giving up anything there. He's a multiple-time world champion on the ground in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think this fight plays right into his hands because he's fighting a big, strong wrestler to take the fight to the ground, and sometimes those big guys like getting it on the ground and then taking a rest, and I can assure you you're not going to take a few minutes off and around by being on top of Zapato, because he's a beast down there and he's going to be attacking the whole time. His striking's gotten good. He's a big favorite in this fight, and I think he should be. I think he's going to win this title, and I think he's going to defend it in the years to come.
Well, Dan Lambert, to me also, with the crossover appeal, whether it's MMA, boxing, pro wrestling, and I look at someone at AT&T that's been ultra successful in several avenues in King Mo. And King Mo is training fighters now and also has been involved in Major League Wrestling and Impact Wrestling prior. Could King Mo be someone that could help some of the ATT fighters in the transition to pro wrestling?
I mean, King Mo is probably the best teammate we've ever had at the gym, which is why we knew he would become such a good coach. Even when he was full-time fighting, he was putting in so much time in helping everybody else. It was a natural fit for him to make the transition into a coach. And as far as his pro wrestling career, he's gone to wrestling school. He's been in developmental territories for WWE. As soon as we started the AEW crossover, the first thing he did was grab a couple of the guys that were involved and said, hey, let me show you some things. Let me show you how it works. So very good, very instrumental. He was a big help to JDS before his first match. And the guy's he's always at our gym, and he's always looking to help everybody else get better.
And there's someone else, just in case ATT wants to bring someone else along. You've got another go-to guy in King Mo to get involved in AEW.
Yeah, he's under contract somewhere else, but Tony Khan's got that forbidden door that he likes to open, and I won't be surprised to see King Mo climb through it at some point.
And lastly, Dan, and thank you so much for the time. Hey, your first introduction in a ring, I believe, for AEW was in July in Miami, and it was the Murder Hawk Monster Lance Archer with the legend, Jake the Snake Roberts. And that one, you didn't end up on the good end. But I'm wondering now, maybe the Murder Hawk Monster and even Jake the Snake could have receipt coming to them in a future AEW episode.
Well, I will say this. Jake the Snake Roberts is a legend, and there is no receipt coming in his way whatsoever. I'm not looking to wake up one day with a 12-foot python sleeping next to me. But Lance Archer, that guy needs to watch his back. We owe him something.
Dan Lambert, thank you so much. And hey, do you have any parting shots, parting message for the Inner Circle?
You mean the Inner Circle jerks? Yeah, I've got quite a few things for them. I'm going to be heading up to Orlando on Saturday. I'm going to be laying them out. So tune in on TNT, 8 o'clock Saturday night for Dynamite. and you'll see what we got in store for those idiots.
Yes, Dan Lambert, ATT. Thank you so much.
Thank you.